Welcome to Thought Arouser from the Vibrance Community, Life, Leadership, and the Art of Thriving. In this episode, we're addressing a topic that touches every believer at some point: doubt and skepticism. How can you respond with honesty, patience, and faith? Here at the outset, we should clarify that while similar, the terms doubt and skepticism are not interchangeable. Skepticism is defined as a studied attitude of questioning and doubt, the doctrine that absolute knowledge is not possible. Skepticism starts from a neutral standpoint and aims to acquire certainty through scientific or logical observation. Doubt, it seems, plays an integral role in that process, especially as a studied attitude. Doubt, the noun, simply stated, is uncertainty, disbelief. To doubt, the verb form, is to lack confidence in, to disbelieve, question, or suspect. We need to remind ourselves, sometimes several times the same day, that skepticism isn't evil. Are you skeptical when a stranger appears at your front door or calls you in the middle of dinner to tell you they have what you need and the special price is about to expire? Me too. Do you ask yourself 10 or 20 more questions for your major decisions than you do for lesser choices? Skepticism can save you money on occasion. It's a cousin of caution in many ways, so don't be too hard on it. It does present a challenge when discussing matters of faith, truth, and eternity, though. When handled with honesty and grace, doubt can lead to deeper faith. Doubt isn't the enemy of faith. Throughout Scripture, we see people wrestling with questions. The Psalms are full of honest questions. Why, Lord, do you stand far off? Why do you hide yourself in times of trouble? That's Psalm 10, verse 1. God welcomes our questions, and He meets us in our uncertainty. Jesus didn't shame honest seekers. When Nicodemus came with questions in John 3, Jesus engaged him in conversation. When the disciples doubted, He patiently explained, sometimes more than once. The Samaritan woman at the well in John 4 had lots of questions and objections. The disciples had trouble believing the women who hurried to find them after seeing the angels at the empty tomb and blurted out, still out of breath, "Jesus is alive." Thomas, who wasn't there when Jesus appeared to his followers that famous Sunday evening, was pretty emphatic. I'm paraphrasing, "I'll believe you when I see Jesus for myself." You can see the full story in John 20, verses 24 to 29. The following week, though, instead of rebuking Thomas, Jesus invited him to touch and see. His doubt instantly turned into worship. Paul, too, engaged skeptics with respect. In Acts 26, he shared his testimony before King Agrippa, inviting honest consideration rather than demanding agreement. In today's skeptical age, patience and humility are powerful witnesses. Rather than reacting defensively, ask clarifying questions. What's behind your doubt? Or what would help you explore this further? Using this approach will convey your respect and keep the conversation open and ongoing. It may be helpful to remember that in general, doubt can be lasting, but it can also be temporary, fleeting. Skepticism has a longer lifespan and may be a part of a person's method for discovering truth, hence the adjective skeptic or skeptical. When someone expresses doubt, resist the urge to shut them down or offer quick fixes and pat answers. Instead, listen. Affirm the questions are part of the journey. Share your struggles and how God met you in them. When someone expresses skepticism, whether about faith, the Bible, or life's big questions, respond thoughtfully. Admit what you don't know. Offer to explore answers together. Point to the evidence for faith, but also share your personal experience of God's faithfulness. In current events, skepticism about institutions, leaders, and even truth itself is widespread, and we need to remember that skepticism can be valuable, even priceless, in the long run. Those who respond with honesty, patience, and hope can offer a compelling narrative. Here's the main takeaway in this episode. Meet skepticism with patience and thoughtful engagement, trusting God to work through honest conversation. In doing so, you reflect the heart of Christ and invite others to discover life eternal and abundant. So, how do we respond practically when the person across from you is a skeptic or when the doubt you're facing is looking back at you in the mirror? First, welcome questions. Let people know, including yourself, that it's okay to wrestle with doubts in your family, your church, and your friendships. Faith is more about seeking and following the truth together than about having all the answers. Second, share your own journey. Be honest about your struggles and how God has met you in seasons of doubt. One hint here, the surest way to lose them is to tell all. Share what applies specifically to what they're dealing with. Your story will be powerful because it's real and relatable, but too much detail will erode that relatability in a big hurry. Third, point to evidence and experience. There are solid reasons for faith. Historical evidence for the resurrection, the reliability of Scripture, the testimony of changed lives. But don't stop at intellectual arguments. C.S. Lewis joked that he may be the only person ever who came to Christ as the result of debate. Share how Christ has brought you peace, purpose, and the transformation he's brought to your life. People may debate ideas. Some love it, but they can't deny the reality of a changed life. Fourth, trust God with the outcome. He's the one who draws people to himself. Our role is to be faithful, not to have all the answers. Sometimes the best response is, "That's a great question, and I don't know. I'd love to explore it with you. What do you say, shall we?" Skepticism that finds what it's been looking for, maybe for a very long time, can morph into confidence, drive a contagious way of life. Thomas's "My Lord and my God" lasted well after Jesus ascended. Church history and tradition tell us that he traveled to India, shared the good news about Jesus, and spent nearly 3 decades building the church there. If you do well, the skeptic that's about to drive you crazy in today's conversation may just include you in their story one day as one of those who was patient, understanding, and gently explored the truth, with them. If you found this thought arouser helpful, click the link in the comments section below to learn more about how you can join the Vibrance Community discussions. It'll save you a seat.